episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
This is Season 8, Episode 4.
Or Episode 170 if you're counting.
Man, that's a lot of numbers. 170? That's many episodes.
That is many episodes.
That is many multiple episodes.
That is one more than 169.
Thank you, as always, to the Patreon contributors at patreon.com/MarsGirl,
yes,
who make this and all kinds of other stuff I do possible. And, yeah, got a good full episode today, and I'm excited, but has there been anything else going on that we can talk about before we get into major points within the show? No?
John Cena! No.
Really?
No, it's just WrestleMania's this weekend, and that's a thing we watch. I watch fairly consistently, you do not.
I do not, no.
Yeah, it's almost like some people with religion, like you don't watch every week, you just go on the pay-per-view weekends, only on the high recognized days. The wrestling holy days.
I definitely have no idea what's going on. I don't really have a desire to know what's going on. It's not really
And yet
my
we're
thing.
going to a friend's house to watch WrestleMania this weekend.
Because it's a thing to do with friends. I really don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. I can't really communicate with you about that. I can't communicate with you folks about that either.
Yeah, but it's funny.
I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's funny because every time we go out, we end up tweeting out what we think of the matches, and usually we come at things from a slightly different aspect than some other people do, which ends up getting us a couple of follows, and then we get unfollows after a couple of days once people realize, oh, we talk about more nerdy things than just wrestling.
Yeah, we don't talk about wrestling. That's not a thing we do.
That's not a thing we do.
No, sorry. I can't follow along. I'm sorry. I won't do it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
I get it.
Cool. Anything else going on? Because that's not something I feel like I was very well able to talk about.
Most things I talk about, you're not able to talk about.
That's fine. Is there anything else?
I don't know, but I'm gonna talk about it.
Okay,
there was the It trailer.
Yeah, that trailer's pretty good.
It doesn't fall into what we normally cover here on the show, but like, admittedly, growing up, it was one of the few things that I synced up with everyone else on in thinking, wow, that was really scary.
Mm-hmm.
And not because I ever had a fear of clowns, because that's the first thing people assume is that, oh, you're afraid of clowns, right? Because
no,
of that
I'm afraid
movie.
of it.
No, I'm afraid of Tim Curry. There's a difference.
That's true.
If you grew up watching movies in the late 80s, early 90s in America, you had a very healthy fear of Tim Curry.
That's true. That's very true.
And the thing about it is, like, yeah, it's not his scariest role to me. That was always Legend for me.
That's a good
the
point.
The visuals there. But that wasn't to say, like, the atmosphere and mood of it didn't really creep me out, but in a good way. I think...
Of course.
That movie's as close as I get to enjoying horror movies, like other people go to the horror movies every weekend, like The Conjuring and Annabelle and all those other ones.
Yeah, but you want to see how the story develops. You don't just want to be scared for the sake of being scared.
Right, exactly. Like, there was such a rich cast there from the 90s miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I didn't watch it when it aired because, my mom wouldn't let me watch that.
No,
so,
of course not.
No, I just rented it a couple of years later when I could do that on my own. But it was great, you know? I really liked it. And this one, for as much as they're doing, and we were talking about this earlier before the show, I like what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
It looks like they're updating things in terms of the way they filmed it. I just hope they don't strictly adapt certain parts of Stephen King's novel, because some of them
don't really need to exist.
Don't need to exist and don't need to be spoken about, because certain parts of that book will put you on a list.
Well, Stephen King needs some help in a lot of ways.
We've known this.
But we've all known this for a very, very long time, so, yeah.
But that's just the nature of Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So otherwise, I don't think there's too much else personal to necessarily talk about. No.
Not on my end. Do you have anything?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Then, so in that case, we're just going to go ahead and let you guys know what our main stories for the evening are going to be tonight. Starting off with, we're going to be talking about Batgirl suddenly out of nowhere.
Very much out of nowhere. This just broke earlier today that Joss Whedon is in talks with DC and Warner Brothers to direct a solo Batgirl movie. So we'll be talking to you guys about what that potentially means, about what Whedon brings to the table, and what a lot of people are wishing stay off the table as far as the character is concerned.
So secondly, following that story, we're going to be talking more about Power Rangers, but this time it's going to be Korean Power Rangers that are also Japanese Super Sentai, and we've known about these upcoming Rangers, Power Rangers, Dino Force Brave. We've known about them, but now this past week Toei has released a whole bunch of information about this upcoming series, as it's a sequel to Kyoryuger.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all that information and what that really means culturally speaking, both for tokusatsu and for, like, relations between countries and stuff.
Yes, and the last thing we'll talk about tonight, of course, just this past Tuesday, we got a new trailer for Spider-Man Homecoming. We'll, of course, talk to you guys about what we expect from the movie, and if there's anything left to expect, given how much they showed us.
They showed us quite a bit, so we are going to give you some fair warning that will be shown and discussed. I hope you'll stick around, but if you don't want to see any of it, then I totally understand. That's kind of why we're saving it for last. So, yeah. There you have it. So those are going to be our upcoming stories, but until then, we've got follow-ups, as usual.
Yes, we've got follow-ups.
Please talk to me about these follow-ups, Josh.
You said please. Thank you.
You're welcome. We've got a job to do. Now do it.
Manners. Okay, hey. You just showed me manners. Don't ruin it.
Okay, so do your job.
All right. Oh, my God. Okay, so first and foremost, we will skip full-blown Justice League.
Oh, thank God. All right.
All right. We got plenty of news. We covered that last week on the show. You guys want to talk about that? Stick for the talk after we do this.
Q&A time.
Q&A time, yes. So we will go ahead and start with another member of the Justice League over on the CW, which would be the Flash. So we got this promo image from the upcoming episode, the Once and Future Flash, once they come back from break. The important thing to point out, I don't know if you can blow that up any bigger, is that the Flash finally looks to have his, as close as we can get, signature costume. Now, I don't know if you guys can see between us, he's actually got the full gold belt and the lightning stripes going down his arm, as should be there per the comic. Now, for folks who remember the pilot, in the pilot, they reference a Flash that looks more comic booky in Eobard Thawne's photo from the future, and we've been waiting and waiting for several seasons now to see if they finally get there. It looks like they're finally going to get there because of time travel again. Yeah, it's the Flash. We've come to expect that. But it's nice to see that. We're wondering how that's going to integrate into the actual show once we get there, once the Flash returns. Okay, and the other thing, as some people already see it, is another bit of information from the CW, our first look at Black Lightning. So here we have a picture of the costume there for the pilot. They're currently filming right now over at CW. Of course, Black Lightning coming out of the 70s and being revamped several times throughout the history of DC Comics. I'm not sure that I'm a fan of the costume.
Well, the only thing that I really have had a major problem with is, I will go ahead and blow this picture up. This is really annoying. So, blowing this picture up, I don't like those like basketball court goggles he's got going on.
Yeah, the scuba goggles.
They also really look like they're photoshopped onto this poster after it was already made.
It's entirely...
It looks really, really
if it's not
bad.
Photoshopped, it's been touched up.
Yeah,
at the least to
clearly.
make the lenses more glary. I see the references there. I see the update from more recent takes on the character. Admittedly, Black Lightning wasn't high on my list of adaptations there for DC properties over on the CW.
But it's not like it's a bad thing that they're doing it.
It's not. I'm just saying, between the two of us, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, where you at? Holla at your boy. We want to see those shows too. Maybe they'll show up here, because at this point we're going to run out of characters and they have to hit them sometime.
At some point, yeah.
Yes. Oh, there's a cat at my feet.
Yes.
That happens.
Yeah,
okay,
please continue.
Alright, so let's go ahead and move on over to some Marvel news. Okay, so we'll go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about Infinity War. So for those of you who live in the New York area, there will be some filming out there for Infinity War, and they will need extras.
Oh, that's
Yes.
cool. If you're out there, get out there.
Yeah, so if you have the opportunity, check online. They're looking for them for the filming. Of course, this is going to be going on for quite some time now. Moving around from Atlanta now over to New York. They've also got some stuff over in Scotland that they're filming. They're all over the place.
Oh, sure.
Yes, so if you have that opportunity, please let me live vicariously through you. Over on the gaming end of things, we got our first look at the Telltale Games take on Guardians of the Galaxy today.
Oh,
of course, this new trailer shows a little bit of what the game has to... Yes, the invisible Mountain Dew, it happens. So this game will be episodic, the first episode dropping later on next month for the low, low price of $5.99. That's...
It's not so bad, yeah. For something that's episodic, they shouldn't be charging more than that.
No,
really.
they shouldn't. From the looks of it, they haven't gotten the same cast from the cartoon that's airing on Disney XD, but for the most part, they look the way they should. Gamora looks a little bit more like her comic book counterpart, but they are very heavily referencing the movie look of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and that makes sense with the new movie coming up later this year.
It'll be more recognizable that way right now.
Right, that's for branding purposes. We get it. Okay, so moving on to some sci-fi news over here. So, Star Wars Celebration, as if we had any doubt, they have confirmed that Mark Hamill will have several panels there at the convention.
Well, no kidding. Like, is that even actually news?
Well, what's also nice about it is that he has been confirmed to be the host of a panel dedicated to him specifically remembering Carrie Fisher.
Oh, that is nice, yeah.
So it'll just be him sharing anecdotes.
That is news.
Yes.
Okay.
So, for those of you who I'm very jealous will be heading to Orlando for that, please send pictures, because yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm sure there will be a live stream of it, because they
Yes.
frequently do that.
Which makes it a lot easier to numb the pain.
Yes.
So sad. Okay, so moving on to some Godzilla news. We've got two bits of news here. As far as the movie is concerned, Godzilla King of Monsters, we've got another cast member to add here, O'Shea Jackson, who some people would see as playing the younger version of his father, Ice Cube, there in Straight Outta Compton. He has been added to the cast. No word on who he's playing yet, but the cast does continue to grow week by week. The other bit of information we have is for the Godzilla anime. They have confirmed this week that is going to be part one of a trilogy.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So, more options to see this new weaponry versus the King of All Monsters.
Hope we get more information on that during G-Fest. That would be really cool.
That would be really, really nice to see, some hands-on stuff where we can actually be like, hey, I touched some Godzilla stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so we have that to look forward to as well. We also have this picture here from the set of Pacific Rim, this official picture being released now that we can confirm that filming has wrapped on the sequel. And of course here we see from the China set a picture of John Boyega there as Stacker Pentecost's son. Of course now once we have confirmed that filming is done, now they're going into post, which means we are one step closer to this movie.
You're so excited about this movie
I love
every
this
time
movie.
we talk about it.
I love it
every
so
time.
much. So much. I'm still a little bitter that we didn't get those Japanese model kits of all the Jaegers. And they were ridiculously...
Were they from Bondi?
No, I don't think they were from Bondi, but they were ridiculously expensive. They were only about maybe 1/144 scale.
Okay.
But they were like $85 a pop.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, there's some
They must have been pretty detailed.
They were fairly detailed, but you did have to put some work into them.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
It's a model kit. What do you expect? Okay, so moving on to some other video game news here. We can confirm this picture here for the new Tomb Raider that will be released in less than a year on March 16th of next year.
He means it's a movie.
It's a movie,
not a game.
Yes. Well, it's a video game movie.
It's a film adaptation of a video game.
Now, specifically, it's the rebooted Lara Croft from these last couple of years.
The rebooted Tomb Raider.
Yes. Yeah. So here we can see Alicia Vikander, who is playing the role of Lara Croft this time around. Interesting thing to note now, the only people who have ever played Lara Croft in the movie, Oscar winners.
Well, I mean, that's good, considering I would not consider the last couple of Tomb Raider films to be Oscar-worthy films.
Fair enough, and I would agree with you, but hey, it doesn't hurt.
Now, my question is, especially because the picture is this small on the screen right now, is, where is she, because all I see are trees?
Well, yes, we'll go ahead and bring that up here, so...
What I mean is that she's full of brown, and the scenery is very brown and full of trees.
You're making fun of camouflage.
Yes. I'm saying that this is a very brown photo.
So?
Please continue.
Oh
Never
my
mind,
God.
you missed the joke the first... Oh my god.
You're
All
terrible at this. I can't believe it. Okay, so moving on to some other video game movie news. We have confirmation of the title for the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph 2. Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2. That's kind of a long title.
Yeah, and is also like a direct reference to what's her person who is famous that doesn't deserve to be famous, who broke the internet by showing her butt on the internet? Is married to Kanye West? Oh, well, I'm glad we've forgotten her name, because somebody else here is going to tell us what her name is.
I care at this point, but I
matter.
know what you're saying, but the point being, the title is in reference to Ralph no longer being tied down to one video game. He will get out of his cabinet and then be able to go to gaming through the internet there in the game. So we'll probably have the potential there for a lot more cameos and crossovers from
I didn't
different
actually
games.
want to know her name. I didn't need Kim Kardashian in my life. I did not actually need that.
Well,
so
I didn't either,
no,
but...
thank you.
But forget that, we're talking about Disney.
Yeah, so are we talking like MMOs here?
That's a very big possibility.
Online shooters.
Yes, that's another possibility too. I think it would be funny to see, personally, a crossover, like a chance for him to get into a shooter, like say Overwatch, and interact with some of the characters there. I just think it would be funny.
It would be funny, but at the same time, gotta be careful with Disney showing too much violence. Granted, there was a game in the previous movie that featured shooting, but it was shooting aliens and not like people. So I don't know.
We'll have to see, but
that.
I imagine they'll be able to succeed in delivering on a good sequel this time around, because the first one was still very good in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. So I hope the second one's good, even if I'm not really digging the title.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on to some anime news here. Interesting bit of news here from Crunchyroll. They have confirmed that they will be simulcasting Attack on Titan Season 2.
That's starting this Saturday, I want to say. I just received an email on it, in fact.
Right, so for those of you who've been waiting to see that, then, here's your chance. We'll be able to see it officially here stateside. The other bit of information that I would like to share is that they are now streaming G Gundam over there. G Gundam being one of your favorite series as well.
Yeah, which makes me kind of bummed. There were, it was like 5, 6 or more years ago that somebody spent a lot of money and donated me DVDs of G Gundam. They were very expensive at the time, and now you can stream it for free on
Yeah, but now
Crunchyroll.
you've got those hard discs
that they don't print anymore.
Yeah, so those are collector's items.
They are, but like...
Look, just be happy. Be happy for yourself.
I'm also happy that... I am legitimately happy that we have not lost G Gundam to the world, and that it still is in circulation out there to this day.
Now, if we can get Gundam Wing back in circulation over here, I will be very happy.
Well, there will be a very large generation of Toonami weebs that will be very, very happy.
I am one of them.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, okay, so moving on to some very interesting news here. So now we're getting reports from several different outlets that Warner Brothers is courting Get Out director Jordan Peele to direct their live-action take on Akira. So, the idea here...
Is he nerdy enough to cover Akira?
He's fairly nerdy. Jordan Peele does have quite a bit of nerd cred to him.
I believe it.
That having been said, the question is he the right fit? Because granted, he would seem like the hot director now when he takes a $6 million movie and turns a $120 million profit on it.
Now, people are just saying they want him for this, right? He's not saying he's interested, and nobody is saying he's actually signed on to this thing.
No, just that they are seeking him out right now. I don't know that he would be the best fit for it. Admittedly, he did a very good job with his debut.
I would want him to get one more thing under his belt, but from Hollywood's perspective, anime needs to get another thing under its belt that actually survives.
Right, and
and getting a new director, even for as good as Get Out is, he's still a new director.
And the thing about it is, a lot of outlets are reporting that it's looking like Ghost in the Shell might open soft this weekend, not quite meeting expectations. For some people, that's no duh. For other people, it's like, damn. But
it's no duh, but damn. It's not like I want an anime adaptation to flop. I expect it to flop, but I don't want it to actually flop, if you understand my meaning.
I do. But the idea of it here is perhaps with a different take, granted as deftly, I shall say, as he was able to handle the different racial overtones there in Get Out. Perhaps they're thinking he'll take his perspective and add that to Akira, and that might qualm some people's fears about it.
Perhaps.
There's that potential, but...
That shouldn't even be an issue in Akira. Granted, people are already upset with Ghost in the Shell for not having a purely Japanese cast, or at least a Japanese major in the leading role. So,
and from the plot description that we still have from Warner Brothers,
it's supposed to be in New York,
Neo Manhattan.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have to keep an eye on this to see where it goes.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so we'll move on to some other news here as far as Tokusatsu is concerned. Okay, so of course we did our spoiler-free and spoiler-ridden reviews of Saban's Power Rangers, which of course debuted last week. We have those numbers for you. They debuted at number 2 with a little over 40 million at the box office. That's not bad.
It's not bad, but realize Disney still has the stronger pull.
Right, Beauty and the Beast, of course.
No duh.
Yeah, making money very quickly over there. But by most accounts, people seem to like it, or at least like enough of it. That's probably the more accurate way of saying it.
Yes, yes.
So that does put things in perspective as far as getting that sequel greenlit, those 6 other movies that they want to do.
Well, you know, that China market, they're waiting, like, most of Hollywood these days is hoping that their big box office hits also do well in China, and China's gonna be what determines whether or not gets that sequel solidly, I think.
Right, because it hasn't opened in Japan yet, and they just confirmed that China will get it.
I actually am not expecting much out of Japan, but I am expecting a lot out of China.
Yes, more people are expecting that now, especially going back to Pacific Rim 2, because China sucked up the movie so well. People went out in droves to go see it. That's part of what drove them to film there.
Well, realize, too, on top of that, in order to get a Hollywood film to actually hit cinemas in China, you have to have a certain amount of Chinese content with a Chinese actor in it.
Yes.
Power Rangers has that, so it's like no question that like they're already going to be excited over it because they see their own similarities within the film. So we'll see how well it does in China. I think it will do well in China, and I'm actually not so certain about Japan. That's my guess.
That's fair enough. Okay, and let's move over to some news with Kamen Rider Ex-Aid. So the first thing that I am very glad to talk about, I've been complaining about it over on Ex-Aid Replay for several weeks now. They have confirmed that starting this week, Daichi Miura's Excite will be back as the opening theme with a brand new opening there for the show. We get to hear it.
The visuals to
yes,
it
for the opening credits. We finally get to hear it again at the opening proper. Thank you, Toei. We've been waiting. Because the thing about it is, I like the song. I really do. And I like a good opening.
Mm-hmm.
And like we were saying when the series first started, it wasn't nearly as kiddie or kitschy as we thought it would be, as far as the visuals are concerned.
Right, well, the first episode, to this day, I still think is the worst episode of Ex-Aid. It's the most childish episode of Ex-Aid, and really does a poor job of setting the overall tone of the rest of the series that comes after it. But after that, it gets way more serious than you expect.
At least it's not the case like Kamen Rider Drive, where I have to tell you, wait 12 episodes, and then we'll get past all the kiddie stuff. No, you just wait
one episode, and like it immediately becomes easier for an adult to palate.
Yeah. So yes, we have that confirmed. Glad to hear that. The other big thing we had were scans from this week showing our one new rider and one new rider form. So here we have a look at Palad's, or I should say Paradox's, level 99 upgrade, which he will achieve by using a gamer driver along with his Gashot Gear Duel. And then, of course, right next to him, we see Kamen Rider Poppy, who will debut in episode 26. Of course, this is the confirmed form for Poppy People Papo, getting a Buggle Driver 2 and using that to transform.
Now, I had written a news article on Tokusatsu Network about her earlier in the week. They were really trying to suggest that she's the first female rider to get her own personal transformation device that doesn't get passed around to other characters, that's unique to herself, but that doesn't seem entirely accurate unless there's something we don't know.
The best way, and I was thinking about this too, the best way you can explain that is because they have confirmed that the Buggle Driver 2 will not only be used by her. Kamen Rider Chronos, who will eventually show up in the series, will use it as well. The thing to define her there as far as the transformation device is concerned is that she gets it before someone else uses it.
That's entirely possible.
Because with any other one, in Ryuki, Kiva with the Ixa driver, Kamen Rider Wizard, someone else uses the driver before the female gets it.
But even then, it's not going to be unique to her because somebody else is going to use it not long after her.
And technically, it's just a repaint of the one we've already gotten. Mm-hmm. So no matter how you look at it, it's not quite accurate.
So they were really... that news article I was translating off of was really trying to spin it like, this is the first in Kamen Rider history!
Then you don't know your history.
Yeah, they were spinning it pretty bad, actually.
All you had to do was watch.
Yeah.
But at least, we have these looks at the costumes. I really surprisingly like the blend of Knockout Fighter and Perfect Puzzle there for Paradox. I wasn't considering getting his Gashot, but considering the form, I might reconsider. It's kind of cool.
It's a little cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of it.
Okay. But yes, that's all our follow-ups for the evening. Let's go ahead and get started with our first story.
All right, cool. So we're looking at Batgirl and Joss Whedon. Everybody, Batgirl and Joss Whedon. Yeah, that's the news. All right, but really, I mean, there's not all that much more to it than this, other than what we can spin as conjecture. So this was just what was it today or yesterday?
Today, hours ago.
Yeah, just hours ago. They were talking about putting Joss Whedon on this Batgirl movie, which I understand is not a solidified thing.
From the outlets I'm seeing it from, there's ink on paper.
There is ink on paper. Okay.
Yes. Some other outlets I did see are reporting it as, it's a maybe. The news I'm getting it from, which is one of my trusted sources, says that it's superherohype.com. They are stating it as, no, this is confirmed. So that's where we're going from with it. Now, admittedly, Joss Whedon is no stranger to nerd culture in the slightest. You know, you got Buffy, you've got Firefly, of course, the Avengers movies, all of these different things which, people absolutely love and adore. And in that sense, it seems like a no-brainer to ask him to come over to do something for DC. As long as it's not Snyder, I'm happy. The fact that it's somebody who has nerd cred is happy for me, to realize. But admittedly, there's some questions that come along with it.
Right. Because even though everyone really liked Buffy and Firefly, so we move into more recent stuff such as Avengers.
And Age of Ultron.
The female characters were not treated so great, and I want to say there were some kind of tasteless quotes he had made about why he had made some decisions with certain characters.
A few. So the thing about it is, there's I wonder about, shall we say, conflict of interest as far as characterization is concerned. Now, looking into it here, the preconceived notion across the board is that we're going to be dealing with Barbara Gordon, the original Batgirl. So there are people asking, well, will it be Stephanie Brown perhaps, or Cassandra Cain, one of the other Batgirls that we've had, over the last, 25 years or so.
I mean, Barbara Gordon seems like a pretty surefire decision.
That makes sense to me, considering, we're already talking about Nightwing a couple of weeks back, that they're looking into a Nightwing solo movie. It would just make sense if we're going for this.
She's been written in a relationship with Nightwing before.
Oh, of course,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, as far as that goes, that makes sense, that it would be Barbara Gordon. Now, the question, of course, that comes along with that is, where do you tell her story as far as it's been spun over decades? Because, of course, we had her run up until several years ago, where she, had a successful career as Batgirl, retired for a little bit. Then, of course, there was the incident with the Killing Joke, and then she became Oracle. And then in more recent years, they've kind of worked around that.
Or semi-retconned it to where now she's younger and still Batgirl in that cool, admittedly well-designed. Has not been crippled.
No,
it has not been crippled, so she continues to be able to do her job rather than moving into the position of
Oracle.
Of Oracle, yeah. Which I think would be really interesting. Granted, I can understand people's complaints once you get up to Killing Joke about how they feel she's really poorly treated and mismanaged within that story of the Killing Joke, which is why they kind of sort of tried to fix it-ish in the animated film, and I feel like they didn't really do a very good job with it. But you can tell they were like, we have to make this better so it looks like she was a very competent character before this happened to her. But I feel like that incident also turned her into another great, fantastic role within the Bat continuity.
Right, within the Bat family, because in that sense, I always really liked her as Oracle. She was a very integral part of the Bat family, and those of you who watch the show can't lie and say that over on Arrow, that Felicity isn't just Oracle Light. They almost they make that joke about her. Saying, I need a code name. How about Oracle? Taken. See, that's a reference back. But the thing about it is, that kind of character works really well, but admittedly, DC is trying, obviously here, to branch out and kind of listen to fans while at the same time thinking, okay, we can't do the grim dark stuff anymore. I know, we were all hoping we could still do that, but alright, we gotta go in directions they want. Alright, so let's do Nightwing. let's do another Suicide Squad that made money. And let's do Gotham City Sirens. Let's do that one too. A lot of women in that. People like women. We gotta add on to that. Batgirl. We're gonna do Batgirl too.
Well, here's an idea. What if they decide to go the trilogy route, because that's the popular thing to do these days? You give her a good, solid first movie. In fact, maybe movie and a half, movie and 2/3, and by the second movie, you do, unfortunately, put her in the wheelchair. Maybe not in the method used in The Killing Joke, but you give her that venue to then, at the end of it, still find a way to be an incredibly powerful and useful character as Oracle, and the third movie is her continuation of her going on into being Oracle and still being this really awesome character who happens to be wheelchair bound, and so she's representative both of women and of paralyzed or handicapped people. Handicapable people. So, excuse me, but I think that could be a good idea if they were to go in that direction. I bet because I said it, they won't do it, but it would be cool.
Right. Now the thing about it is, people are asking, could there have been somebody else who could have directed this? Absolutely. There is no shortage of directors out there. There is no shortage of female directors out there, as far as I'm concerned. Point being, this is WB trying to make what makes sense on paper, and they mean this kind of paper. They want to make sure they get their money back. Because with these decisions, specifically with the ones I just mentioned, Batgirl, Nightwing, Gotham City Sirens, Suicide Squad 2, they're trying to make smarter moves. They may not be the smartest moves, but at least it gives people cause for hope. The whole idea here is that if they're all going to be connected, actually connect them.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually make them good, solid stories, like you're saying, that actually develop these characters and bring richness to them. Similar thing along that, I mentioned Gotham City Sirens. One of the actresses who a lot of people are hoping gets cast as Poison Ivy in that, Jessica Chastain, went on record as saying, I would consider it if they wrote her as a subject, not an object.
Yeah, that's a great way of phrasing it. That's a fantastic way of phrasing it.
And the same thing applies to Batgirl, I would say.
Yeah.
If they treat her as a subject and not an object, and you might as well, because, you kind of base the movie around her.
I feel like, Catwoman has always been portrayed really similarly as an object and not a subject.
That's something that they're looking at for Gotham City Sirens specifically. Now, I do appreciate the idea that instead of just connecting her to Gotham City Sirens, which I think would have been a really no-dud decision, kind of similar to how Batman was put into Suicide Squad, they're deciding to give her her own movie, which sounds great on paper, but in function, we're going to have to see how that works out.
Right.
Now, as far as casting goes, I'm not going to make any conjecture right now. There's any number of capable actresses who could play that part, could play it very well. I know I was one of those people who was actually hoping that Jenna Malone was playing her there back in Not Quite Justice League, but of course we were all wrong because Snyder couldn't make a good casting decision there. But really, it has to do a lot with the writing. Because in most cases, I actually do believe in most of the people they cast for these movies. I don't have a problem with the casting, except for, Lex Luthor. But
you're right.
But aside from that, the writing has to support it.
Of course.
Because you can only act so well around a crap script. I've said that several times. Hopefully that's the case here. Hopefully, to appease audiences before they even get started, Whedon brings on some good female writers.
Yes, that would be amazing if he would actually do it.
A good think tank there, Warner Brothers. I know you can afford it. You didn't lose that much. I mean, you lost, but you can still get this back here. It doesn't take a lot of time, or rather, it doesn't take a lot of effort. Just put in the effort to put out better than what you've been doing before.
Yeah, but some effort is more than the no effort we were putting into it before, and that's hard.
Do you want to make money? Do you want to make money?
It would be nice if they would actually want to make money.
Yeah,
that would be
so
nice.
Here's hoping. That's what I got.
Okay, cool. That's fine with me. Thank you, guys. So let's go ahead and make a move on to what I'm basically calling K-pop Rangers.
K-pop, okay.
Yeah, K-pop Rangers. So what you're looking at here is a promotional video that was released by Toei, and actually an almost identical version was released for Korea. This is Power Rangers Dino Force Brave is the official original Korean language name of the show.
But in Japanese, it's being called Juden Sentai Kyoryuger Brave.
So, it happens to be both Super Sentai and Power Rangers at the same time, the
We are-
Japanese version of this trailer, in fact, says out loud, the narrator says, Juden Sentai Kyoryuger Brave, and then immediately the Korean cast says Power Rangers Dino Force Brave.
Now-
And so they both coexist
Understand,
at the same
people,
time.
we are through the looking glass here. This is jelly and the peanut butter right now.
Okay, can we start this really long tale of how this comes to exist? All right.
Okay, so I'll start it. Of course, several years ago, over in Japan, we had an installment of Super Sentai called Juden Sentai Kyoryuger, which ran for its run of 49 episodes. It was very fun, one of my favorite series there at a Super Sentai. And that was it. And then, of course, we moved on to other seasons there. I think, what was it? Tokyuger came right after that. Point being, we had that series. Saban gets a hold of it and then adapts it over here, of course, very famously as Power Rangers Dino Charge, and then eventually Power Rangers Dino Supercharge. So that has its run. That's pretty well liked over here. We met one of the actors. That's great. That finishes its run. So Korea. Now, Korea is a very interesting portion of the world to look at as far as this is concerned, because over there, mainly what they do is this interesting thing. Well, they will show the show that is Juden Sentai Kyoryuger, but they will call it Power Rangers Dino Force.
Thus, both Toei and
Saban.
Saban get money at the same time in Korea.
Right. Now, the very interesting thing is this show in particular, which is being billed as a direct sequel to Juden Sentai Kyoryuger.
But it's being called Power Rangers.
So it's both.
So realize, Sentai's been running since the 70s, then we take it in the 90s and we call it Power Rangers, then we ship Power Rangers back to Japan and they dub over it, and then Korea's like, well, we want some of this, but they get the Sentai version of it and they dub it over, but they call it Power Rangers, and now they're like, well, we want to make our own Power Rangers, and Toei's like, we'll help you make those Power Rangers, but we have to take it back and call it Sentai, and they're like, okay.
And that's what we've got now. Now we've got this new trailer for this new cast, completely Korean cast, over there. You had just done a story this week about...
I did several stories this week,
about
yes.
these new characters, these new brave heroes that we're going to be seeing in this series. Now, it's worth noting here that we will be able to, at some point, see the series, because not only is it airing in Korea, it's also getting dubbed and subbed for Japan.
So somebody eventually will subtitle it in some language somewhere that you will be able to read or hear or something. We got this all Korean cast. If we can go ahead and go down the list, we talk about
here.
Brave Kyoryu Red is the Japanese name, but he's also, they're calling the Kyoryus, they're calling them Dino Force Brave Dino Force Red. So they're interchanging
Well, for the purposes of this, we'll refer to them by the Japanese nomenclature. So Brave Kyoryu Red.
Brave Kyoryu Red, whose name out of suit is Juyong Kwon. I get the feeling I'm going to eventually pronounce Korean names incorrectly at some point, as I have not been well practiced in Korean, so I apologize for that. But his character type is that of a kid who's like secluded himself up in a mountain his whole life to try and gain strength and become the Dino Child, and he's looking for his long-lost brother that he hasn't seen for his entire life. And we move on down to Brave Kyoryu Blue, who is an idol member. He's a member of a K-pop boy band, which is hilarious because each and every single one of these actors either is or was a member of a K-pop band.
Yes.
Each and every one of them. And they're not even trying to change Blue. He's a member of a K-pop band in canon.
In canon there for the show, he's part of a group called Superboys.
Which is a really terrible name for a group, if you ask me.
But it's believable because, like, there's 40 million K-pop groups there in South Korea, so...
So he's handsome and snobby, but he believes in fighting smart. So
okay,
good
so
for
that's one
good
thing.
for him. Brave Kyoryu Black is a police officer. He's the oldest member of the group, and he's got superhuman strength, and he's really strict with rules, but he's actually a kind dude.
Now, those two attributes there, superhuman strength and the oldest of the group, it's worth noting that those attributes line up with the original series Kyoryu Blue, and his actor is actually going to be the one voicing him here for this series.
Even more, if you were cross-eyed about this before, it just gets so much worse. Brave Kyoryu Green, I was also not mentioning, like, their actual character names before. You know
Well,
what?
we've stopped now. We've gone too far. We can't go back.
Green is a super rich dude, and he's
spoiled.
He's really with the times. I believe in his interview that he was giving earlier, he doesn't necessarily understand how, like, normal people live. He doesn't get it, but he's really good with a gun, so good for him.
So, in that sense, he's like the original Kyoryu Black.
Brave Kyoryu Pink is a really ambitious girl who wants to become a nurse, and she's feisty, and she doesn't permit mistakes, but she's very, very fast.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
I mean, that's a little bit more original, fine.
Brave Kyoryu Gold is of particular interest because he doesn't start out as part of the team. He, in fact, starts out making a deal with the bad guys, the Neo Deboss army. There's some sort of evolution of the original bad guys from the original series. So he's made some sort of contract with them, and he's fighting against the other 5 members of the team. We don't know why yet. He's apparently so strong that he's holding his own just fine against the other 5 members of the team, but we don't know why it is he's doing this just yet.
Now, the interesting thing to point out there is the fact that there's not this whole thing with Dogold, holding him within armor, and then eventually he gets loose to become a good guy. He's bad to start off with, kind of almost like a sword for hire sort of thing.
Yeah, and he works alone, so...
And admittedly, like, it's not like he's the only one, but I think he has a really pimp jacket. Admittedly, all of them have really pimp jackets, which are available, but they're expensive.
But the gold is not available.
Except gold, so I might have to just cry.
But we've got the return of characters like Torin,
Luckyero and Candelira, of course, from Kyoryuger there. Luckyero and Candelira were bad guys, of course, became good guys. Very funny, comical characters. Torin, of course, being the mentor to the cast.
So they're reusing these suits.
Yes.
They have not been repurposed.
And as I mentioned before, the original voice cast for those characters in Japanese, we'll be voicing them again here for the dub of Kyoryuger Brave.
So we've got also brand new, we're going to call them Zords here for this. I'm sure they in Korea will call them Zords.
Because of the Power Ranger nomenclature.
Well, actually that's not true. They were saying Juden Ryu. Well, they were saying Juden Ryu in the Japanese.
Well, Juden Ryu would be the Beast batteries.
The Beast batteries. We've got, what were they called before? They're, Juden, they were calling them Juden Ryus. They're the mechas that are dinosaurs. So, this Red's got, what were we calling him? Guntira. So he's a Tyrannosaurus with a gun on his head.
With a Gatling gun. Now, admittedly, when it comes to the Zords, or mech I should say, it's very noticeable in the redesign what they did. And for the most part, all they did was repaint them. Mm-hmm. Some of them were reassigned color, and then they've added something new to them to make them distinguished from the original Kyoryujin.
All these mechs have puns for names, really. We've got Shovacera. He's a Tyrannosaurus that's a Triceratops that's a shovel, which is also kind of dumb. We've got Stegon Saw. He's a Stegosaurus with a saw on his head.
Now, originally, the Stegosaurus was for Kyoryu Blue. Now that's for Brave Kyoryu Black.
We've got Parasaurzer, which is a Parasaurolophus that has a laser in its mouth. And then we've got Rapax, which is a raptor with an axe for a tail. I'm
actually really down with that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. So they combined to make 2 new kinds of Zords, Megazords.
2 new mecha combinations.
Yeah.
Brave Kyoryujin, and then if you switch out Black and Blue's arms for Pink and Green, you get Brave Kyoryujin Western, which of course is reminiscent of the name scheme there for the mech in Kyoryuger.
So before we wrap this story up, I kind of want to go into the implications that this now creates now that we have Korea in the game making their own Sentai, their own Power Rangers that are tied into Saban and to Toei at the same time, okay? Well, one, what does this mean culturally speaking? Now that this sounds like now any country can make their own adaptation, it would almost seem. And then similarly, each and every one of these actors have proven themselves to be able to sing and dance.
Yes.
They are performers. Does this it's pretty much up the standards of who they have to begin picking for Sentai or for Power Rangers?
Okay, so let's look into that. As far as Power Rangers is concerned, no, it's not going to affect Power Rangers in the slightest.
Probably not.
Because Power Rangers is kind of an island unto itself, where aside from when they absolutely have to do it, really over the last week for the movie, they try to act like Super Sentai doesn't exist.
It's very depressing.
It's very depressing. Now, admittedly, what they're doing here with this series is something people were complaining that Saban should have done from the beginning. Just take the suits and make your own footage. That is literally what they're doing here.
Yes, yes.
They're creating their own footage, they've got their own suits, they're sourcing things out from Toei, like, hey, we'll use them, but we're telling our own story
It's
here.
a literal straight-up continuation, a sequel series, though. We don't know exactly how much time has passed.
Or if any time has passed.
No,
we don't know.
we do know. We know time has passed. We do not know how much time has passed.
Now,
I also don't know whether this is supposed to actually take place in Korea or not.
That we don't know yet
really
either.
know.
We'll see here in a few weeks. But the thing to point out here is the fact that, yes, you're right. At this point, this does set a whole new precedent for any other very entertainment-minded country who wants to get in on this. Now you can see, no, we'll totally work with you and do this.
Now, granted, they specifically got Toei's directorial and stunt team,
Yes.
correct? Now, granted, Japan and Korea is just... It's really
Yeah,
not
hop,
all
skip, and
that.
a jump.
It's not all that far to travel. I get the feeling you can't say the same thing if, say, like Tokusatsu's hot in Brazil, for example.
Yes.
I get this feeling they would not do the same thing if Brazil decided they wanted to make their own Power Rangers spinoff. Because tons of these guys in their own K-pop bands, take for example Red, his name is Kim Se-young. He's currently a member of the K-pop band My Name, and they're relatively popular right now. And also there's both Blue and Black, Oh Se-hyun and Hong Seung-ho. Both of them are from the band A Piece, and they have Japanese singles, lots of Japanese singles, so they're already kind of in a popular circle within Japan, which is part of why I think they went ahead and said, okay, we'll take some Korean K-pop artists because we're already semi-familiar with them. That's why I'm not sure they would actually go for the same thing in another country. Like, I'm using Brazil just as an example because I know how hot Tokusatsu is in Brazil. So it's hard for me to say, but I can't help but feel like this creates a brand new Tokusatsu community, at least in Korea, and might open up an entirely new set of audiences' eyes to what Tokusatsu is if you're starting to bring K-pop artists in, because K-pop in and of itself is so friggin' hot, and there's people who are like, I will follow X member of X-Man to the ends of the earth until the day he dies, and then they'll find out what Tokusatsu is.
Yes, and that opens the door even further for more people to find out about it. And admittedly, we could talk about this much longer here in the post-show wrap-up chat, but we do have to kind of move on here. But admittedly, yes, this is very exciting. And that goes along with the spirit of what Kyoryuger is originally. You know, they were very energetic characters, you know, moving along with the rhythm of these dinosaur spirits, you know, flowing through them. The original was one of my favorite series, as I've said before. Hopefully they're carrying that same feeling over into this adaptation. And yeah, this could open the door to a lot of other people who may not have given Tokusatsu or Super Sentai or Power Rangers a chance. So yeah, hopefully other countries will feel inspired to get in on this, maybe
and
even
other
adapt
communities.
other properties, you know. we might see a Korean adaptation of Kamen Rider at some point because
that
of
would
this.
be fun.
That would be
really
great.
Fun, yeah.
So yeah, we're very much looking forward to this, and we'll definitely share our thoughts with it once it airs.
Definitely. So we will move on. Finally, remember we're gonna be talking about the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer now.
Now, admittedly, yes, we will set that up for you guys. So, admittedly, for those of you who are spoiler phobes, there's quite a bit of footage shown here. So if you already haven't watched it, we'll understand if you want to click out for.
So
for
I am a little bit concerned about how much footage this trailer shows. That is all I will say. I don't think it spoils like everything there is to the movie, but I feel like it's a significant amount. So I am about to click this button that's going to show the trailer.
Push
in the
the
background.
button.
I'm pushing the button, guys. So there you go. That was your warning. Spider-Man Homecoming. Yay, let's get it to actually play in the background here.
Okay, so for this movie here, which is of course coming out later this summer in July, so admittedly I've been looking forward to it. You know, ever since his debut there in Civil War last year, I've liked this new take on Peter Parker
Sure.
and the Legend of Spider-Man here. Admittedly, now he's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We see the little ties in all over the place. Of course, you know, we see Tony Stark there. In a second, we'll see him in class, and he's watching a video with Captain America there in his Avengers outfit.
Yes.
Specifically from the first Avengers movie. We see him there. Yeah, he's back in high school again because we have to keep Peter
Well,
Parker.
at least he looks like a high schooler.
Yeah, admittedly, now I believe him there in that role. And he's playing it very well. You know, I absolutely think it was great casting to have Tom Holland here in the role now. The question is now, how is this all going to fit the Spider-Man portion of the Marvel Universe, which is, of course, vast over many, many decades.
Mm-hmm.
How we're going to show all that here, adding that into the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
Now, they have gone ahead and revealed how specifically Michael Keaton's take on Vulture fits in here. So he is a scavenger here.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a rich man. Adrian Toomes, in most cases, is either an inventor or a rich guy. Here, he's a scavenger. What he does is he rounds up all the loose alien tech or super high-tech hardware that gets left after super battles, and then he and his guys, who are specifically Shocker and Tinkerer, we've confirmed that, put them together to turn into new weapons to sell to other people, and that's where Spider-Man comes across them,
Right.
and then has to stop them. So that in and of itself is a good enough movie.
Yes.
I'm absolutely down with that. A grassroots approach to potentially seeing other Spider-Man villains get their powers this way.
However, I very strongly feel like the studio clearly didn't think that was enough. For some reason, they felt like, well, nobody's gonna just watch Spider-Man. We still need this holdover with Iron Man in it. Like, Spider-Man wasn't good enough all on his own, that we still needed... And this trailer, the last trailer, it was like, oh, that's nice, Iron Man's in it. Now, this trailer is like, no, Iron Man's in it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, we'll have to see whether or not it's any more than that. I really hope it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Because the last thing I'd want is, like, Iron Man... Where are we at now? Iron Man 4? Iron Man 4
Yeah.
featuring Spider-Man?
That's
No.
what some people are saying here in the chat also. Yeah.
Yeah, so really what we're saying is... Now, a lot of people have been talking about this, Destroyer. I see what you're saying there. People are asking, you know, Peter's got his friend there who eventually does find out that he's Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
you know, asking all these questions like, do you know Captain America? These other things? What else did Iron Man give you? I just want him to say real quick, did he give you a big robot? That's all I want. I want that one line.
I want somebody to legitimize
something.
Leopardon. Please.
Just give me something. Please.
Or the Spider Machine
GP7.
GP7. Either
And
one.
specifically the Spider Machine GP7, not the Spider Buggy.
But more specifically, we want Leopardon.
I want Leopardon.
I named my computer after the GP7. I named my car after the Leopardon, even though it really should maybe be the other way around.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'd rather my car be Leopardon.
Yes.
I'd rather think my car is a giant spider robot.
Now-
Spider lion robot.
Spider Lion
No,
robot.
spider leopard robot.
Okay.
I'm
Thank you.
done. I'm done.
All right. So point being, a lot of this trailer does seem to line up with a spoiler post that was made several months ago on a different website. I won't say which one, you know, just to protect people from spoilers. But it does seem to line up with that description of what I'm seeing here very solidly. A good.
So somebody knew.
Somebody knew. Somebody did get a look at the script for my money. That having been said, if they're following that script that I read, this could potentially be the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen.
I hope so, but I was also hearing a little earlier today that they were saying, look guys, this amazing deal we worked out with to do Spider-Man, after this movie and its sequel movie that we're lined up to do, this may never happen again. So you better enjoy it now while it lasts, or hopefully this works out for them so well that Sony realizes, oh crap, we can't afford not to be in this partnership anymore.
Yeah, because I'll ask Sony the same question I asked DC earlier in the show. Sony, do you want to make money?
Yeah.
Can you afford to stay on your high horse, or do I need to drag out the last Fantastic Four movie and remind you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna keep making these movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and the thing about it is, one thing I'm very happy about, and this has been a complaint I had in the other Spider-Man movies, not that I didn't like them, or their portrayals of Peter Parker, I'm just very much a fan of the fact that we see him actively using his original suit before he found a way to get a better suit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, admittedly, in the original trilogy, and I'm talking about, of course, back in 2002 with Tobey Maguire, they never explain in the movies how he gets his costume.
Right.
He just goes from sweatpants
to, I made this. No, you didn't.
No, I don't even think he mentions it. Or no, he does.
He does.
In Spider-Man 2, he does say that. But aside from that, it's like, how'd you get that? Because one of the big telltale things about Peter Parker is that he does not come from affluence. He's down on his luck, living there with his aunt, trying to get by.
Now, I would believe that somebody could go and buy a Zentai suit and then make a cool design out of it,
and that's
and sew something together, maybe something better than what he crafts himself in this movie, but not, clearly not Tony Stark levels of ingenuity.
Well, I'm talking about the Tobey Maguire one there, where we don't get a full explanation, and then we see him kind of starting to build it there in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But admittedly, it was kind of funny watching him go from, okay, I'm wearing my normal clothes and a hoodie, and then I'm wearing a balaclava, and then I'm wearing a balaclava with shades, and then, nope, we're going full Lycra now. I've been through Cosplay Melee. I know what to do. That was kind of weird seeing that jump.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's kind of befitting of the comic books. It's like, no, Tony saw that Peter needed an upgrade, he gave him an upgrade, and that's where he got the suit. I believe that a lot easier than the other two.
It is very interesting to see that he has to get it taken away from him, then go back to this really kind of mashed together gloves and sweater and goggles and stuff, but it means that by some point by the end of it, he either proves himself or he proves that he's really needed, and he's gonna have to get the suit back, and it's gonna be this great, yay, he's got the suit back moment.
Yeah.
So I do not know what that moment is, but I already feel like, well, I already know how this is gonna go.
And admittedly, I do see that their Calvin Cat, his proto suit, however you want to call it there, his vigilante suit, does look very reminiscent of the Scarlet Spider. It's just inverted colors.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that nod as well. Like this one, more so than the others, is very aware of its comic roots.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that so much, especially with those Ditko eyes.
Yeah,
the expressiveness there that we haven't been able to get in the other movies, because we have the Tony Stark explanation. You need to be able to see better? I'll rig that for you.
Mm-hmm.
But you even see there, even in his homemade costume, he figured out a way to get them to move up and down as irises.
Yeah.
So that also shows Peter's intelligence and ingenuity.
Yeah, it was Chaos Hawk who said it, not Captain Calvin. It's the thing.
Then it was going. Yeah, when it scrolls past, it was hard to see there. But yes, I do very much appreciate that. I'm very much looking forward to this movie. We got the friggin' Spider Tracer. For once, they're remembering all his tech. He has a reason for his tech.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with you. We'll most likely see him back in that suit by the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a concern that they've shown too much, but hopefully, Marvel hasn't been that stupid, really, as far as these things go.
In general, no. Not
So
nearly DC
I can only
levels
hope,
of stupid.
yeah, not DC levels. That's some other kind of very dumb decision.
Yeah, we haven't been doing our homework, and we've been making terrible execution plans, yeah.
But for this specifically, I can only hope that at this point, they've got a proven track record. I trust them that they haven't shown me everything. They wouldn't just give that away.
Well, that was certainly true of the third Captain America movie, where it felt like they gave quite a bit away, and then it turned out, oh, there was just stuff that I just had no idea that they kept this much hidden, and they did it, or they filmed some things that just were not actually truly there. Lots of red herrings were placed into that trailer, so maybe they did the same thing again here. Maybe we're all being lied to right now, and maybe that's for the best. Maybe they're spoiling us because it's not actually spoilers and it's all lies. Maybe that's what it is. I almost hope that's what it is, because I still want to be left in some sort of suspense.
Yes,
That
but
would be nice.
I will go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt. I feel that by this point, having seen so many successes out of them, personally, I feel I owe them that much.
Yes, very true. All right, we had better wrap this up.
Okay,
so,
yes.
Thank you so much, as always, for coming and hanging out with us this evening. And if you're still here with us live right now, please continue to hang out with us for an additional half an hour so that we can do our Q&A time with you. If you're not here with us live right now, I really wish you would be. So please start coming down to see us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Central. That's both on youtube.com/marsgirl/live, as well as on twitch.tv/marsgirl.
Yes, and during the week, you can always talk to us over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at Marsgirl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rooms. We'll see you guys again next week. Take it away, Danny.
Danny is a young sci-fi writer living in the UK. Everything was going great until one day he was captured by a beautiful woman, terrifyingly hot. Her name is Morphine, and she'll make you scream. Get ready for your adrenaline shot, 'cause she locked him up in the basement. She tortures him day and night, whips and chains and moans and pain. She forces him to write amazing sci-fi stories and release them to the world. It's Danny, the writer boy, and Morphine is Mistress Girl.
Lou?
Turn the lights back on.
Hello? Oh, there we are.
Okay, there we
Yay. Guys, don't leave right now. We're still here. It's just
Yeah.
Q&A time. Don't go away. We're here. So Josh, do you prefer Bang Bang Simulation or Tattle Fantasy?
Out of the two level 50 forms, I prefer Tattle Fantasy. I do not necessarily like the aesthetic of all Snipe is just an upside-down battleship.
An upside-down battleship. Yeah. Welcome back. How was Kuroto Dan able to infect himself with Shakariki Sports if he has Bugster antibodies in him?
It's because
It's-
he has no soul.
It's different.
Admittedly, Bugster antibody doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be infected. Like, people who get flu shots can still get the flu.
Yeah.
So, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, so maybe it just didn't work. If Boom Comics were to use a common writer property, what would you want them to use other than the RX stuff? But all I want them to use is RX! Dragon Knight.
Yeah,
so sorry.
if Boom wanted to continue the Dragon Knight portion of things, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I had never considered that before. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the only other thing that North Americans would be particularly familiar with.
Yeah.
Or any of those other dudes that showed up for 30 seconds in that one episode of...
Amazon!
I am Amazon. I am Masked Rider Leader.
Warrior Leader.
Warrior Leader.
I'm Master Warrior Commander. I'm Rider Man. I am Z-Cross, the only one to get his name right.
Yeah, except you don't pronounce it like a Z, you pronounce it Zet.
It's not Zet.
Yes, it is.
No, it's Z-Cross.
No, it's
Z-Cross.
No,
Z-Cross.
Do you
Okay.
think we'll ever see the Poppy People Popo version of the Do Re Mi Fa Beat Ga Shot in the series? No, I think that was just a promotional item.
I think it's
right?
just a promotional item. Now, it would make sense that if Popey were to use it at some point, once she becomes a writer, I think that would only be fair because clearly Hero's not using it. That would just make sense to me, but I'd put money on it that they won't give it to her.
No, because we know she's using Tokimeki. I was about to call it Tokimeki Memorial because that's a real game.
No,
but-
Tokimeki Crisis.
Crisis. So that is invisible, Josh. What? Were you invisible?
I haven't been invisible for like 2 seasons
Yeah, in fact, when were you invisible?
during Ghost.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that happened.
That happened. Incredibly stupid question. If you guys ever had a son, would you ask his online screen name to be Josh Knight II?
No. He would be his own person.
Also, maybe this is just me, but yeah, let's also name him his own name because he should be his own person and not live vicariously off of you, I think.
Yeah, I would be in agreement with that.
Okay, yes. What the hell was Space Whale in me?
Man, I don't even know. All right, because like we've been watching Toonami for the last couple of weeks for Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack is amazing right now.
Yeah.
Get on that. Get with it.
God,
Act like you
yes.
want it because you do. But Space Whale and me comes on a little later, and like
Or
I
Sand
don't know,
Whale.
or Sand Whale. And,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know what the hell it is. You can tell me it's
Because it's only, what, 5 minutes long, right?
Yeah, it's only
At
5
best.
minutes long.
But the 2 episodes we've seen,
Are almost identical.
90% of it is the exact same footage. So 30 seconds of it maybe is new footage? I do not understand. I really don't.
And even if you tell me Mamoru Oshii made this thing, I don't
Good for
care.
him.
It still sucks.
So given the director of Spider-Man Homecoming, do you intend to look at John Watt's previous films, Clown and Cop Car?
I was aware of those 2 other movies. I'm not really interested in seeing Clown. I was more interested in seeing Cop Car.
Have you seen the Red vs. Blue season 15 trailer?
Man, I haven't
Red
seen-
versus Blue since season 3 or 4.
I haven't seen it in a good 12 years.
Yeah, I have not kept up with hardly
Yeah.
anything that Rooster Teeth has even done. Like, the most recent thing we kept up with, and it wasn't even keeping up with it, was Ruby
Season 1.
Season 1. So, and Rooster Teeth is an hour away from here, and so you would think, hey, there are other YouTubers that, like, are within the general community and they're nearby, we should keep up. No.
No.
We don't keep up with what they do.
Yeah.
We really don't. This is my first after show of the season. Well, thank you for being in here. Yay. What do
Thank you,
you
Sandra.
think of Q Ranger? It's a kid's show. I mean, it's not bad, but it's like, I am only keeping up with it for work-related purposes. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I would have dropped it. I don't think it's that engrossing for an adult.
I think it's fun enough. I didn't think that was going to be the case when I first started, but Naga and Balance have become my favorite Rangers there on the show, just because Naga is so incapable of understanding emotion correctly, and then Balance is just there
He
kind of...
might have some problems. He might have some problems. But that's why I love him, though. He's so simple, but he's so lovable.
And plus, I appreciate it sometimes when a character speaks directly to the audience. And then Balance is just, Mr. Can't Really Sit Still, song and dance man. Hooray, let's go!
A little bit ADHD, but that's why he's likable too.
Yeah.
So they're great. They're
Yeah.
great characters. I just feel like so far there's not a lot of substance in the show yet.
It'll
but
come,
it's for
hopefully.
kids. We're people in our 30s watching children's television.
I don't
Like
care.
we're gonna sit here and admit it openly. So.
Yeah, of course.
Is the wolf in Samurai Jack the best dog ever?
That dog,
So-
that wolf last episode, like, he cared.
He's a bro.
He's
yeah.
yeah.
That and he's like, I'm in the same boat, man. Like, I get it. Come on.
Like, that dog would... I say dog now because you say it. That wolf would have bought him a drink if he could have. Like, he was just doing everything for him.
Yeah. With Fast and the Furious still getting bucks, wouldn't Drive be acceptable? Oh, like being in
An
the North American kind of mindset.
You could
You
probably
could
do
adapt
drive.
it.
You could adapt it, but you'd have to figure out a way to cut out all the other shift cars.
The shift cars are so annoying. That the shift cars are literally the reason why I first decided I wasn't gonna finish Drive, even though I realized that was a mistake. especially after some time had passed. I totally realize it, and I want to get back on it and go through it, but nah, those shift cars just about murdered. They made a big mistake with them in the beginning. That was
They
a
did.
huge mistake.
Thankfully, we can report that they rectified that, but if you brought it over here, you couldn't do it. Not with all the, like, Dream Vegas and the cab one. Like, okay, maybe the cab one. But,
Well, the cab is at least a car.
well, the cab at least serves a purpose story-wise later on.
How did you take that Power Rangers Masked Rider crossover? You mean the one episode
Two
from
episodes.
the 90s? Excuse me, 2 episodes from the 90s?
Season 2, A Friend in Need, parts 1 and 2.
So that was the best. Those were the best episodes of Masked Rider.
Absolutely.
Before Masked Rider came out.
Exactly. And then
the-
Masked Rider ruined it.
And then yeah, they really screwed up. They just about had something. Like, they got you excited, like, I want to know what this guy's story is, and then the series actually starts, and you're like, I don't care about this guy's story.
I know, it's like, this
terrible.
is... Because at first it's like, oh man, he's a freedom fighter, and I want to see him, make sure nobody else falls into tyranny, and then you watch episode 1 of Masked Rider, it's like, this is Superman.
And he's got this really ugly side character, and these other friends that I don't care about.
No, it was his
and-
family, he didn't have friends.
Well, they became his family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like
the
all
other
this immediate-
kids.
Yeah, they're his family.
They are now. He wasn't born to them.
Well, yeah, he wasn't born to them, but
They're
they
not
adopted...
even all the same ethnicity.
That was the whole point. That was literally the point of that.
And he's got, there's the adults that, like, have nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
No. So, okay. Thoughts on Kamen Sentai Go Rider Episode 1. It could be really interesting, but man, sometimes I actually really hate Japanese acting, because I think it's really stagnant, because somebody will start to walk away, and then another character will go, wait! And then that first character actually stops. And it's really rigid like this.
Yeah.
Or somebody starts to walk away, and then the other person says, wait! And takes 3 steps after them, and then does not continue chasing after them, and you just stand here rigid like, oh, I guess I can't stop him from going anywhere. Japanese acting is so wooden sometimes, so that's my biggest concern with this so far.
It's part of what you're getting when clearly they did this on a budget. They filmed it within 2
Oh,
weeks.
the interview that I translated? They did it in 2 weeks.
So they did this real quick. They pumped it out there. Good on them for having the suits ready and the actors available to do it.
Also, so far, it feels like Marika is written very not like what her character was in.
Also,
in
what's up with her not getting to use her super at the end of the episode? Like, everybody else got to use it.
Yeah.
Even Laser gets to use his.
Because women, Josh. Because now we have to write her to be kind of cutesy and also not get to do a cool thing because she's a woman.
No, bump that. She's her own suit actress.
Yeah, I know. I would like to. Whatever. So, Mars Girl question: do you think that if Star Trek would go to Disney too, Deanna Troi would be a Disney princess since she's the daughter of a person of queen-like stand? If she were in an animated film, yes, like a mainline Disney animated film, yes. Otherwise, they don't count.
Yeah.
Like, if Disney buys other properties, any princess that may or may not exist in Marvel isn't considered a Disney princess.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, as cool as that would be, they're not, like, making new drawings of these characters and putting them along next to Snow White and Cinderella.
Yeah.
They don't do that. So, sadly, they wouldn't, but it would be nice if they would. Did we see the trailer for the new It movie?
Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of the episode.
We talked about it a little bit, and it looks pretty good. I saw somebody do a mashup where they edited the old movie almost shot for shot to look like the trailer.
I want to show me that.
It looks phenomenal. It's mind-blowing, but also really scary, because seeing it like that makes you worry that it's a shot-for-shot remake of the old It. It's a little concerning because some shots are so literally identical, but we don't necessarily know the exact context of every shot they're using, so I don't know.
I'm still very much looking forward to it.
Do you think Bang Bang Simulations is a suitable replacement name for Tokimeki Crisis?
Oh, I get the joke.
I would think more like...
You get the joke,
Yeah,
right?
well, I get simulation as in a dating sim.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, but I think I don't think it's suitable. But I
you don't think it's suitable, okay.
But I think Heartbeat Crisis would be pretty good. I think that would be pretty good. Did you see Ralph Breaks the Internet? Yeah, we mentioned that at the beginning of the show. A funny subtitle is Electric Boogaloo. Well, everybody puts Electric Boogaloo at the end of anything with a number 2 on it.
Is there a Kamen Rider who you thought was good in concept but not in execution? Yes, Wizard.
Wizard, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Meteor. I think he was in, like, almost totally the wrong series. Except for the fact that meteors come from outer space. But the problem with this whole series of Forze is that they really don't spend a lot of time in space to begin with. That and making the decision to make him make Bruce Lee noises and only vaguely move like Bruce Lee.
Not even vaguely.
Just
doing this
was all wrong.
Yeah.
Like his execution, I
flat.
felt like was all.
That fell flat.
His execution, I felt, was all wrong. But he looked kind of cool. I just don't think he belonged there. I really don't.
Yeah. And the same thing goes for Kamen Rider Wizard Season 2. Most of you know it as Kamen Rider Ghost.
With the success and awesomeness of Samurai Jack on Adult Swim Toonami, what other older Cartoon Network series would you want to see have a new series on Adult Swim? I don't know that I would want to see any other old Cartoon Network show revisited in quite that form. They already tried to redo Powerpuff Girls, and that was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
That was a big mistake. I think the only one they could do would be Courage the Cowardly Dog. I really think that'd be the only one that would even be feasible, and at the same time, I kind of don't want them to.
And I'm not even saying this one because it's an old series. I just think we got cheated out of Season 2, Symbionic Titan.
Yeah. Well, you know, Tartakovsky, he worked on that too, so maybe if he proves himself with this, they'll give him a season 2.
This was the thing about it. If you look at the Daughters of Aku, one of them blatantly has... oh god, why can't I remember her name? The princess from Symbionic Titan. She has the same haircut and same basic design.
Well, it is his
it's
art.
It's
so. His art, so. So all in all, if you get asked by a guy named Christian Fox to help him out, just don't do it. I assume that you're talking about this thing going on up here. I apologize. I might have to scroll back up there and talk about that later to you personally, one-on-one myself. Excited for Koguma Sky Blue? Is that the little kid?
The kid.
That's the kid, yeah.
Like, we called that one.
That kid's actually a pretty good kid
actor, yeah.
Yeah, so, aside from just him already wearing the correct color, which was already the...
telltale sign.
2, I was like, nah, you act too well. They're gonna keep you around. They're not gonna let you go.
Yeah, you're too good.
You're too good to just let them walk away. Did you hear the news about Shuri being confirmed to be in Black Panther?
Yes. I do like that they're adding more people there from the Black Panther mythos. Granted, I'm not as familiar with everybody, but I had to do my reading once I saw that casting announcement. Really, I want some footage here. I know we got one set picture, which really you can't see anything in, but I'm hoping for some footage, and now we've got all these other conventions coming up later this year. Hopefully we're going to see something.
Mm-hmm. Out of pure curiosity, did you see the Gold Ranger and Power Rangers Ninja Steel? I haven't watched any of it. I saw pictures.
I saw
that.
I went and looked up the episode and the clip.
So he's a country western star.
Yes.
Which is the only way I guess they could rationalize him having a guitar.
Yeah, because his whole thing when he calls out his roll call, Rhythm of the Ninja, Ninja Steel Gold Ranger, and then he does the guitar.
So he really is just as ridiculous as he was in Ninja, right?
Kind of.
Because he totally stands out.
He's not. No, he doesn't stand out nearly as much because he looks like a modern country star. So he's got like a white fitted shirt and jeans and a cowboy hat.
That's very disappointing.
But like he's not nearly as boisterous as Star Ninja was.
That's very sad to me. What episode of Detective Conan was the latest being aired in the U.S.?
I don't even remember.
It's not even airing on TV anymore, right? Like, it used to air on during Adult Swim, and now it's not anymore,
I
right?
didn't remember.
Yeah, I legit have no idea.
That wasn't my series,
yeah,
man. I'm
I've
sorry.
Sorry, because I know you said you were in Germany, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I apologize that I cannot give you that information. Sorry about that. Can you picture the 1990 It TV movie being done differently if instead Ridley Scott had
Ridley Scott.
excuse me, I missed the D. Ridley Scott had directed it instead.
You wouldn't have been able to get Ridley Scott to direct anything in the 90s.
Yeah,
He's too big.
It would be different had he done it, but I doubt he would have done it. Have you ever had an idea for an April Fool's Day video review or sketch that just didn't happen?
We don't do them.
Yeah, I honestly feel like I don't like April Fool's Day all that much. I try and stay away from the internet. Like you'll see, I'm probably not gonna post anything on Twitter or Facebook the whole day.
Thankfully, we've got a pretty busy Saturday, so we probably won't even interact with most April Fool's things as it is.
Yeah, I can't wait for somebody to send me more Nerf April Fool's Day stuff.
We know the Nerf nuke thing already. People have been sending that to us for years, thinking it's real.
For 2 to 3 years, yeah. People are like, Caleb, have you seen this? Are we gonna use it at the Nerf war? No, because it's been a 3-year-old April Fool's joke. Stop sending it to me. Stop it. And these are people who are Facebook friends with me. These aren't people on Twitter. This isn't you guys. These are my genuine friends who don't freaking know any better. My poor friends are so naive. You poor saps that don't even watch or listen to what I do. You don't even know. You poor souls.
But you guys are nice.
You guys are great. You're better than those losers. Oh, what's the most weirdest design for a Kamen Rider and or a Sentai Ranger you can come up with? We gotta invent something right now. It's one that cleans toilets for a living.
Yeah, I actually did have the idea for a sanitation-based writer.
It's sanitation-based, yeah. It's sanitation-based Sentai, so, they're your garbage man, they're your plumbers, they're... I don't know what else. Sanitation. They're janitors.
Electrician.
Yeah, really boring labor that really deserves more credit than what they get. TV Nihon is covering Power Ranger Dino Force Brave if anyone wants to watch it. I leave that up to you guys.
Your choice for subs.
What do you guys think of the remake of it? Oh, well, we answered that a while back.
Still looking forward to Ant-Man and the Wasp. Waiting for more information. We'll see.
Do you think that Zendaya,
Yeah.
whomever that might be, is really MJ? And if so, do you think she would be better than Kirsten Dunst?
Let's go ahead and put that in perspective. Kirsten Dunst was a great child actress.
Oh, we're going with that old joke again.
That having been said, there were many other actresses that could have done way better as Mary Jane. I actually wanted to see how Shailene Woodley would have played her back in Amazing Spider-Man, but then, of course, they cut her out of the movie completely. So it would be nice to get a Mary Jane. Let's just put it this way. The bar for Mary Jane isn't that high.
Oh, no.
So you can jump that.
How do you think Chase would be handled in an adaptation?
Don't even adapt him. His story is just fine. Android, designed to protect, gets reprogrammed by the bad guys, eventually gains a soul and the thirst for justice. Keep it! That's RoboCop, almost.
From an early mention of John Cena early from the show, did you see the trailer for the Ferdinand movie featuring John Cena?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I couldn't remember why I already knew what Ferdinand was, and the trailer was saying from, this classic story, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I realized that this was an old Disney animated short, which now makes me kind of shocked that I guess either they've let the rights to this story lapse or something.
Specifically Disney.
Yeah, Disney, because they're not the ones releasing this movie. Granted, this short is 80 years old. So going back and watching that short, which is based on a children's book, I guess, that's really a boring story. So I really, really hope that the movie is more entertaining than what that animated short was, because the animated short was just Ferdinand didn't want to headbutt other bulls, he just wanted to sit under trees and smell flowers. Now here's 3 minutes of him sitting under trees and smelling flowers. Then come in the Spaniards who want to throw him into the bullfighting, and he doesn't want to bullfight, he wants to sit under a tree and smell flowers. Then they put him into the ring, and he won't fight anybody, he'll just take the dude's flower that he's got stuck in his shirt pocket, and he'll just smell that flower the whole time instead. Then everybody gets mad that the bull doesn't want to fight, and then they kick him out and they send him home where he can sit under a tree and smell flowers. That's the animated short. It's so boring. So, I mean, the trailer looks like more stuff is happening in that movie. And I guess John Cena can kind of act, so he's, like, that's good for him. Maybe it'll be an alright movie. Like, I guess I'll watch it.
Maybe.
Looks better than sitting under a tree and smelling flowers for 5 minutes straight.
That's true.
What'd you think of the Kamen Rider Brave special? Admittedly, I haven't had a chance to see it yet. I've got it. I just haven't sat down with it yet. But I will get to it.
Is Tim Curry again letting air balloons float in the new It? They cast somebody else.
Yeah,
right?
Bill Skarsgård.
And Tim Curry, I mean, sadly, last year or the year before, he suffered a stroke, and so he's not, like, up and about very much. Like, the last major thing he did was the guest star as the narrator in the TV movie adaptation of Rocky Horror Picture Show, and he, you know, it was like, yay, he's in it, but you're looking at him like, oh, you poor thing.
Poor man.
But thank you for being here, even though the TV adaptation wasn't very good either, so you poor thing.
Yeah.
That poor guy. But I think the comparisons between the two are going to be very interesting, because I think Tim Curry was his own thing, and I think this Pennywise is gonna be his own thing. Even though they look pretty identical, I think they're gonna be two uniquely scary things.
Yes, because they are coming at it from two completely different standpoints there. Tim Curry's was more like the adult you were afraid of, whereas with this one, I think they've been saying, no, we really want to tie into the timelessness of Pennywise. You know, if you know the story, he's been around for centuries.
Yeah.
So they want to show actually just how he plays into people's fears even further, and we haven't even heard him talk yet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already starting to get under my skin a little bit. So I think he'll do just fine.
As kids, how did you take seeing the Zeo suits instead of the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger suits when the transition started? I hated change. I was scared of change. I left. I was out. I was like, bye. I'm out of here.
Well, see, for me, like, I didn't leave because I was invested in the story at that point, because I wanted to see, how did you guys get around Master Vile?
I was no longer invested in the story. I was already losing my investment once Kimberly wrote Tommy the Dear John letter.
That's understandable.
I already was like, one foot is out the door. I'm leaving the door open because I kind of haven't decided whether I'm going to stay at the party or leave. Oh, we got new suits now. Bye.
Yeah, but at this point, like, I was like, well, I gotta find out how they survived the bombing of the command center, and then, you know, it was the new suits, and really, when you break it down, yeah, that's why a lot of people left. People just didn't like change, but at heart, it's Zeo is pretty much the same show. You just have to deal with one or two less people and new suits. Otherwise, it's the same show. It's even the same soundtrack. People seem to forget that Zeo has the exact same soundtrack as the 2 seasons before it. You know, you go back and watch those fights or those Zord battles, it's the same. It's just, I think a lot of people gave it a bum rap just because they were wearing different costumes.
I mean, I agree with that now as an adult.
Yeah.
As a child, I did not really know any better. You know, I was not smart enough to make educated decisions like that at the time. What do you think of the next Kamen Rider series rumors? I heard things
I don't believe
like,
them.
Well, how about that Magudo?
That I don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't believe that
I don't
either.
believe that
That
for a
design
second.
looks cool, but it doesn't look like a main character.
No, that's somebody's fan art. Don't believe that.
Yeah, I really would. Like, don't believe anything until you see copyright information.
Yeah, the way that always works, and I guess we're gonna get to that point fairly soon. You know, time flies. What's gonna happen in a few months is that we're gonna get the press release of the name, the copyright from Toei, Kamen Rider, or whatever his name is. We're gonna get that first, and then a couple of weeks later, we're gonna start to hear the rumors of what the motif is. And then about a month after that, we're going to start seeing people make fan art from secondhand descriptions of what the writer looks like. And then about a month after that, we might actually start seeing scans.
Yeah. Not sure if you talked about this before, but how did you like season 2 of Netflix Voltron?
So
Very good.
So incredibly funny.
It was so good, yeah. So each season, since there's only been 2, has really had me holding on, like, wish another season was ready right now.
Later this year.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for it. Do you hope the Thundercats reboot could continue as an Adult Swim show? See, I didn't have a problem with that newer Thundercats, but I did not latch onto it.
I was cool with it. It's kind of one of those things that, yeah, if it was on, I would watch it.
Yeah.
But I didn't outright seek it out. But I liked it,
Heard mention of SWAT Cats being a possible candidate for an Adult Swim show. Can you imagine that fitting in the block? Well, did they successfully do their crowdfunding? Because they were going to animate more SWAT Cats, right?
They were working on it. It's been so long since we covered that, I can't remember. We would have to look that up right now.
I
It's been a minute.
imagine you could put it on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
If it grew up a little bit, yeah, you could put it on Adult Swim. Would you hope to see Kaiju Kid in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as some kind of response to Pacific Rim?
What I would like to see in Pacific Rim is Leopardon.
Yeah, I would
Yes.
prefer Leopardon, yeah.
Yes. Once the tickets go on sale for Pacific Rim 2, how fast are you going to buy those? Like that.
Like that.
That's it.
Can you both do any of the Power Rangers morphing choreography?
I mean,
Power Rangers, no.
Power Rangers, yeah. Like, I know most of it.
I kind of can't.
Zio's just... That's it.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I know Miss America from
It's Rocket.
from
Jaka?
No, Jaka is Cards.
Oh, no, it's after that. Battle Fever J.
Yeah, I know Miss America. Just this arm in the air. It's
That's
like
all it
nothing. That's all I know. How did you take the post-credit scene in Kong Skull Island? How giddy were you? I don't know about giddy, but I was like, I hope that this comes out. I hope that something really cool comes out of this.
I took my dad to go see it, and he was happy to see, because he says with his accent, Jetra, they're bringing back Mothra.
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 Will you ever go back to Blue? Maybe after, we get... Maybe in another year, because that will have been 10 years since I debuted on the internet with blue hair. Then maybe I'll go back to Blue. But right now, the decision is grow my hair back out, keep it pink for now. Then we'll talk about going back over it with Blue again.
Yeah.
We're over time, but I feel like I kind of want to keep finishing out the
All right,
questions.
let's see what we got.
Like earlier in our life about coming up with writers or rangers, I'm sure any kid would just make up their own self-insertion fanfic writer.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, I never did because I don't make self-insertion fanfic stuff.
I just wanted to be one of those Rangers.
Yeah, I didn't want to make anything new. I wanted to be them, not something else. Just to be funny, would you consider Crystal of the Inhumans to be a Disney princess?
No.
No.
Is there a question you guys in general are sick of being asked?
Just anything that was asked earlier in the show or covered earlier in the specific show, or gets asked multiple times by the same person, maybe? Otherwise,
Repetition.
no. Yeah, repetition is about it. Are you surprised Saban didn't make a Power Rangers Beetleborg crossover for real?
No, in retrospect, I'm not surprised. As a kid, I was disappointed. In retrospect, I'm not surprised because that would have required Saban to put in effort and just that much more money, which means they would never do it.
I forgot he is sitting on a bee. Who's sitting on a bee?
Ferdinand.
Oh, Ferdinand. Yeah.
What's your favorite Kong fight sequence in Kong Skull Island? Probably the last one for me.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's all I want to say since it's still in theaters. What upcoming Switch games do you want to get? maybe
Splatoon 2.
Well, I'm not that interested in Splatoon 2, actually. I know people are really excited about it, but I'm kind of not. Mario Kart, since I didn't have the Wii U, and I've always liked Mario Kart, but I didn't have the Wii U, so this will be the same Mario Kart as on the Wii U, but with more stuff in it. So that's good enough for me, so that's a good start. How's my Void drink? Tastes strangely like Mountain Dew.
Go figure.
Very strangely like Mountain Dew. What is your most favorite cliffhanger of TV shows?
Voltron Season 2.
So far, Voltron
and I'll say
Season
that
2.
much.
Yeah, I can't think of another cliffhanger that, like, I enjoyed, because I don't like cliffhangers typically,
Yeah.
especially not ones that, don't ever get finished. Those
Yeah.
make me angry. Do you think Spider-Man Homecoming might hint Miles Morales and Silk?
Not this soon.
Yeah, especially because they took all of Miles Morales' story out from under him and gave it to Peter. So,
I don't know about that.
I
wouldn't say that.
They gave us reboots of Thundercats and Voltron, but not of Mask and Saban.
No, Saber Rider.
And Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. Yeah, I don't think those were popular enough to warrant getting reboots.
Those were popular, but they don't stick out like the other ones did.
Yeah. Which Gashot power from X-Aid would you personally want? Do Re Mi Fa Beat.
Probably Giddy Giddy Chanbara.
Should Denzel Washington have played the Sam Jackson role in Kong Skull Island just to say King Kong ain't got on me?
No,
that would have been funny, but
it was good enough to have Samuel L. Jackson in there, so Samuel L. Jackson can say, "Hold on to your butts."
Yeah, that was pretty good too. It was kind of a
an unnecessary
it was kind
nod.
of pandering. It was kind of pandering, but it was still kind of alright. And I guess that was it.
That's it.
Yeah, we went over time, but I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go away now. I'm gonna go make sure that this gets up for the Patreon viewers and stuff.
All right, thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys again next week.
Bye. See you guys later.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Have a good night. Okay, bye. Bye, guys.